Hi, everybody. This is Nicole. Welcome back to Wool and Fabric Making. This is episode 4. We are recording on June 19th, which in the United States is now a federally recognized holiday called Juneteenth. Really important, really special day. If you are so lucky to have the day off today, congrats on your 3-day weekend. Enjoy it. Also remember that it is worth educating yourself if you don't really know what Juneteenth is. Just a brief description for those of you not in the United States. Juneteenth is the commemoration of the official end to slavery. The Emancipation Proclamation had already been signed by Abraham Lincoln a couple years before. So as a country, federally, slavery was no longer being upheld. It was no longer legal. However, there were a few states that held out and continued to allow it. And so June 19th of 1865 was I believe it occurred in Galveston, Texas. It was the last state to hold out was Texas. And there was an official proclamation on this day in 1865 where they officially said, okay, we're not going to allow slavery anymore. Slaves in this state are free. And so June 19th is now considered the official end to slavery, even though it occurred after the Emancipation Proclamation. So that is the commemorative portion of it. There's a lot more to it. There's so much more history. I highly recommend doing your own research, learning about it, reading books, all of that. I'll put a couple of resources that I know about in the description box so that if you want to start there, you can. But it is, it is a federal holiday. A lot of people get it off, which is, we all love an extra day off, but I think it's also worth learning about and understanding why these days are so special and why we commemorate and take time to really reflect on our history as a country. So yeah, like I said, I'll put some resources in at the end if you want to research more, if you want to look stuff up. There's a ton of resources, and I think it's definitely worth a good read. Doesn't take long to get through a lot of them. They're pretty straightforward and concise, and they're easy to get through. So it's not a huge time commitment, and I do think it's worth it. So, yeah. So happy Juneteenth to those who are in the U.S. and understand that is a holiday for us here. With that, I will say, while I am off today, a lot of people are not. There are still a lot of corporations and different establishments, smaller businesses and things like that, who don't observe the holiday or they don't give it off as a holiday. So, there are still a lot of people in and around the U.S. who are working today. So obviously, they may not have a 3-day weekend. So, if you're one of those people, good luck. Get through the Friday. You're almost at the weekend. Yeah. So today I want to start off with a quick update on my works in progress and some test knits, some updates on test knits and new things I'm starting. A little bit of information on some acquisitions. I went back to the yarn parlor. We'll talk about what I'm wearing, and then at the very end we'll do Flagwool. So let's start with what I'm wearing. So this is a little neckerchief. Very simple, really pretty. I gotta remember what the name of this is. So this is a really simple shawl. It's like a little neck scarf. It's mostly garter stitch, and then on the edge you have this cable that continues down, and then on each side you have like an I-cord edging. So it's very simple. I made this in Camellia Fiber Co's Sylvan DK. The yarn I actually picked up at Knit Dallas, which is in Texas. I was in Dallas for work, and I really just I had seen it online. I had seen the yarn store. It looked really pretty, and I was like, I'd love to try that. Go see that place when I go to Dallas for work. So I made it a point to give myself a little extra time on my way back to the airport when I was headed back and leaving. And I stopped in there and just perused around. So this Camellia Fiber Co I believe they're based out of Tennessee. And so we don't have this over here in the Phoenix side of the world, but it's really beautiful. This is like very soft. It's a blend of several different fibers. I believe it's like wool, alpaca, and cashmere. I might have this here. So it's 70% alpaca, 20% silk, and 10% cashmere. It's a DK weight yarn. It's 240 yards, and this is the color Garden Rose. And the scarf pattern I used for this is Veera Valimaki's Geraldine scarf. So her scarf was a little different in that it's almost like a V. So when you're doing it, you're sort of knitting this way, and then you kind of angle and go back out. I didn't do that. I kind of just took the base of it and how the cable repeat started, and then I basically just knit and increased and sort of left a flat edge at the top, and I basically knit till about halfway through my yarn and then decreased. And so, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's the end of the world. I still think it's really pretty. You can kind of see, here where that little peak is. So it's right there, like center of my face. And then at that point, I just went and decreased. And doing it that way, I was able to completely use up this ball of yarn. I didn't have any left over, except for maybe like a tiny little yarn tail. But it was not a lot. So I was able to use up that whole skein. I only bought one because with the cashmere content, this was a more luxury skein of yarn, and I didn't necessarily want to get a whole sweater's quantity of this, but I did just want to try it, and I like it. It's very soft. It's very cozy up against my neck. So in Phoenix, with the air conditioning, it actually gets a little cold inside if you're inside for a long time, because with the air conditioning running, if you're like sitting down, if you're knitting, if you're reading a book, and you're being still, it gets really cold because the air conditioning is running all the time. You can't turn the air conditioning down, then it gets too hot. So it's a bit of a trade-off. So I like to put on just like something small around my neck. It kind of just helps balance and regulate that temperature. So yeah, so this is really pretty. I really like the pattern. I think Veera Valimaki has some beautiful patterns, and then I love how like simple and straightforward this was. The Knit Dallas shop actually had this, they had done the Sari Nordlund Turtle Dove shawl or scarf, and I'll put a picture up, but it was also so beautiful, and I believe they also only used one skein of this yarn. Now, I will say that one has like cables and bobbles and very intricate. It's beautiful, but at the time when I was making this, I did not have the energy to try and do all that. So I did not do their same pattern, but I do think this is a beautiful yarn for that pattern. It's also like a small little neck kerchief type scarf. And so, I think that'd be gorgeous. So, yeah, there's not much else to say about this other than it's really soft and it's really nice. So, okay, jumping into I don't have any finished objects today. I don't think. No. My test knit, the sort of turquoise test knit that I did, that I showed you all 2 episodes ago on episode 2, that one is almost done. So I've completed the back and the body. The body I only had a little bit left. I finished the body, and I'm about to, hopefully today or tomorrow, I'm going to seam the sides and then pick up to finish out the sleeves. I did break into my 3rd ball of yarn, so I think I'll have more than enough to finish up the sleeves, because I didn't use that much on finishing the front. I only used about that much to finish the front, so I still have almost a full ball to do both of the sleeves, and the sleeves are also like a very open lace work, so it won't take a ton of yarn. So I do imagine I'll have more than enough yarn for that, which is exciting. I'm excited to have that done. Hopefully it's done by the next time I record. Okay, the other one, this is another test knit that I picked up. I I was not planning on doing this. I just did. So I had on episode 1, I had showed you all the Setapura, which is this like more matte, nubbly little silk, 100% silk yarn. So this yarn is really pretty, and I want to make the mini mock neck tank with this yarn, but the composition and the style of yarn, it made me very curious to also try out Knitting for Olive's Pure Silk. So I found some. I was able to track some down. And this Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, I don't know why both are pink. I don't know. I picked pink for both of these. They're different shades, but they're both pink. So this is the Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. It's a very similar texture. You can actually see these. Like, they're very similar. They're both very matte. They have like little nubs, which I was looking at this and reading online. This is called what is it called? Like a barrette silk. And apparently it's like a more humane way of getting silk. I guess they don't have to kill the moth, to get the silk, to harvest the silk, which is great. So I wanted to try this and see how they compared. Now, the texture of these is almost identical. They feel very, very similar. I will say Knitting for Olive Pure Silk is like a touch rougher, not noticeable. And I did swatch it for this test knit. So this has been knit and this has been washed and blocked, obviously. I did a very aggressive block on this because it's lace work, but you don't necessarily have to do that. And I'm not on gauge with this swatch. I had to drop down a needle size, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. So anyway, I like this yarn, this Knitting for Olive. But here's what I will say. The Knitting for Olive yarn is very loosely plied. So, I don't know if you can see right here, but the yarn itself is like very loosely plied. You can see the plies kind of coming apart, And what I'm running into with this, because I've already started the test knit for this, so what I'm running into is that the yarn is very splitty. So I'm constantly having to like go back, pick up a stitch, and try and get all the threads of, all the plies basically, and pick up all the strands to make sure I get the full knit stitch. And I'm going to say, I don't love it. It's not my favorite thing. But when I look at this Setapura, this is a much more like round yarn and is not splitty the same way that Pure Silk is. So I'm noticing that this one almost feels like it has like one or two more plies than this, or maybe it's just more tightly plied. But I do think this is like a much more round yarn versus this. Like, the Setapura is a much more round yarn versus the Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. So, on my test swatch, I ran into this a little bit. Like, you can see, let me find a good example. Like, here's a good example. So, you can kind of see, like, right here, let me see. Like, right there. You can kind of see how, like, there's little threads and stuff. Like, I didn't get the whole stitch. I'll mark it on the video. I'll point to what I'm talking about. And that has been, now that I've started the test knit and started working, like, that has been a struggle. I keep, like, dropping little threads of this yarn and struggling to get all of the strands. And I don't know. It could also be that I'm working with, like, the tiniest needles. But I am wanting to make the mini mock neck tank by Jessie Made Designs in the Setapura. So I did swatch for that as well. And so this is my swatch on a US 4 for that. And I think, personally, this fabric, which is on a smaller needle than the one you just saw, this is on a US 2. This is on a US 4. The fabric for this, I feel, is more consistent. And personally, I like this fabric more. They're both very nice. I mean, there's nothing negative, but I will say, like, this, now that I've blocked it and everything, this is a bit smoother and it's a bit softer. It is a bit softer after blocking. And I did not have the same issues that I had with the Knitting for Olive Pure Silk with the yarn splitting. This one, I did not have that problem at all. So I've only done the swatch in the light pink, which is the Setapura. But let me show you my test knit. So the test knit that I'm doing, yes, I know, I have 2 test knits going, I'm crazy, but whatever. So this is in the Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. The color that I'm using for this is, so Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in Pink Daisies, that's the color. The yarn itself is made up of 100% barrette silk for a 50-gram ball. They have 250 meters. And like I said, it's a little splitty, but here's the yarn with the ball band, which I think you just saw, but whatever. The test knit I'm doing, this is for Maya Tinks, which she's a designer out of Europe. She does a lot of really cool designs, and she had a test knit for the plume top, which is a all over like lace, sort of chevron and lace looking top. It's really beautiful. And it's got sort of a high neck, almost like I don't want to say like a choker, but it's like a high neck collar. And then the sides, like the shoulders, are open. And then you pick up underneath, and then it's like this very flowy, beautiful summer top. So the top itself is going to be beautiful. I'm very excited about it. Of course, I'm in the middle of a row, so great. But this gives you an idea. So this is the back. So the back is in 2 pieces. So the back is in 2 pieces. So that's the back right here. Okay. And then it's open, and it's going to tie with some lace. So this is like the back shoulder. Right. And then I'm starting to like go down. There's increases, but like you can even see, like, see right there, see how this yarn looks like it's wanting to already unply or untwist? That's what I'm running into a lot. And so I'm having a hard time. And again, to get gauge on this pattern, I had to go down to US 1. It's like knitting with toothpicks. But I signed up for this. It's my own fault. Like, I can't even be mad. But yeah, so I'm just running into that where I'm having to like go back and like pick up the threads. They keep like splitting on me. I do think like the needles being so tiny could be a factor. I mean, that thing is like tiny. But I'm also just, because I've already tried this and didn't have that issue, I'm sort of like, I think I like this a little more. And to be fair, I haven't knit a full garment in this, so like, I don't know. But so far, like, I've definitely struggled a little bit with this. I've definitely struggled with some of these strands coming out. And this is the recommended yarn, one of the recommended yarns she specified for this. And I do think it's beautiful. I think the fabric is going to be gorgeous. I think the final product is going to be gorgeous. It's just getting through some of that splittiness on the yarn and trying to make it work. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Just comparing a couple different yarns, and looking at that. So when I get further along on the test knit, I'll bring it back. I'll show you a little more. Maybe I'll try it on for you so you can see it. It's really pretty. It's very lightweight. Again, this swatch is not the right gauge, but this gives you an idea of the fabric that it's going to make. So I do think this is going to be something I wear a ton out here in Phoenix in the summer. So I'm very excited to make it. That's part of the reason I signed up, was because when I saw it, I was like, I would wear the crap out of that. So yeah, so that's that. Again, Maya Tinks, she has a lot of great stuff. I'll link her as well so you can see some of her other things. She just came out with these really cute little knit shorts, and they sort of flare out, and they're almost like a skirt, but they're not a skirt, they're shorts, and so they're super cute. And I've been considering like knitting them. But I need to finish my test knits first, let's be honest. So those are a couple things. Now, going back to this little swatch right here, why I picked 2 pink colors, I don't know. I guess I was in the mood for pink. Don't know. So this is on a US 4, and I'm right on gauge. I'm off by like half a stitch, but I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna cry about that. I'm just gonna go. So I do plan to cast this on as soon as I finish my, the all over lace like tee test knit that I have. As soon as that's done, I am casting this on, and I'm very excited because I think that's gonna be super cute. I'm planning to make it with no ease. I don't want it to be big. I want it to be pretty like form-fitting, and the plan for it is I'm going to extend the length on the body and make it long enough that I can like tuck it into pants. I wear a lot of high-waisted pants for work, so my plan is to have it long enough that I can tuck it in for work and have like that mini mock neck tank up top, and then be able to tuck it into like my dress pants for work. So that's my goal for this, and I think it's going to be really, really pretty. I'm excited for this one. I do love the fabric that it made. I mean, the drape on this is incredible. Like, oh, it's so nice. It is so nice, and it is soft. It's very soft. This is on a US 4. It still has, it's not super transparent. It still has a lot of like structure to it in terms of the stitch definition. I mean, I just think this is so pretty. I think this is going to be a great stockinette fabric, and that's exactly what I'm using it for. So I'm really happy with the way the swatch turned out, and I'm excited to see the final product for this tank. So once I finish my other test knit, I will cast this one on, and maybe I'll have some progress next week. We'll see. So that is that. Okay, so that's it for works in progress. Like I said, I don't have any finished objects. I just have a lot that I'm working on to try and wrap up some of these test knits. And then with that, I think I'm going to jump into some stuff I got at Yarn Parlor. This is pretty quick for the knitting portion. I did not do a lot of knitting this week. Okay, well. So I went to the Yarn Parlor. So last week, after I recorded and did my video and stuff, I was on Instagram, and Instagram got me. They got me. They got me with the freaking stories and all that stuff. But really, Yarn Parlor had put on their Instagram, and I'll link their Instagram so you can also be inundated with these beautiful things that they put online. But they had put on a different type of sparkle yarn. So if you watched video 1 or video 3, you will have seen all of the sparkle swatches that I did. That was with one specific yarn called Glamour, and that yarn is like little tiny micro sequins, which are beautiful. It's a very subtle sparkle. It's very like ooh, it shimmers kind of a thing, right? But it's beautiful. But I will 100% be doing something with that in the future. But Yarn Parlor had posted something on Instagram showing a different type of sparkle and had a very big sequin on it. And I was like, and I had seen it in store, but kind of thought it was a little too much. Well, then on their Instagram, they actually posted a shawl that they had made and used that with like a similar color yarn. It is like stunning. I was like, holy crap. It was just like, oh my gosh. So I have somebody that I've been wanting to make a gift for, and I won't say who it is in case they watch, but there's somebody that I've been wanting to make a gift for a while. And I was like, this would be so pretty in like a dark color. This would just be gorgeous. So I went to the store, I went out there, and I was like, I'm just going to get some. I'm just going to try it. I want to see what it is. So I went ahead and I went out there. And so this is what I got. I got, the yarn is called, and she had actually just gotten this one in. She had a different one, which I'll talk about. But the specific one that I got while I was there for this gift that I wanted to make someone, this is called Prue Yarns Unicorn Tears. Again, this is a new brand. I I do have other yarn from this brand that I picked up in a shop in Washington, D.C. I picked up like 1 skein or 2 skeins of some stuff that I found there. Also traveling for work. I traveled a lot for work last year. I traveled probably actually and a little bit this year at the beginning of the year too. I probably traveled like 50% of the year. And so, you know, I was all over the place. And so whenever I go to new places, especially like on the East Coast where I don't go to a lot, I try to find like yarn shops to check it out. So that's why if you keep hearing me say I was there for work, that's why. So anyway, so the Prue yarns I had heard of before. I had heard of the brand, but I had not seen this amazing thing. So this is called Unicorn Tears. As you can see, it is bling-y. It is like all the sequins. So they're kind of rainbow sequins, but they're like pastel sequins. So there's like iridescent blue and green and like a pink and then like a purple. I don't know if you can even see it as it's not, the camera does not do it justice, believe me. This is so stunning. So this Prue Yarns is also from Germany. This is a 100-gram ball and you get 100% cotton with that's for like the thread that these are on. And then the sequins are obviously like a polyamide, like, you know, plastic. So, of course, I mean, they're sequins, but the yarn thread itself is probably about the weight of like a, almost like a fingering actually. Maybe, yeah, I'd say like a fingering. So let me see if I can, you see that? Yeah. So it's pretty thin, but it's not thread. It's not as light as a thread. The Glamour is as light as a thread. You could hold that with another yarn and the weight would be negligible. Like you wouldn't even have to consider it. This one is a little bit thicker. So I do think this would add a little bit of thickness and affect your gauge a little more. But that said, I mean, let me see. Use my forehead as a backdrop. But that said, again, I don't think it's a huge amount. So I bought this, and then to go with it, I actually ended up getting this cool wool, which I've talked about at length. So I got the cool wool, and this is the color 0433. And as a reminder, this is 100% virgin merino wool, 50-gram ball with 160 meters. This is basically black. This is a black yarn. You probably can't see it very well on the camera because it's just straight black. So I plan to hold this with this. So I got two balls of this, so 100 grams of the DK weight cool wool to hold with this. So this will be a special gift shawl for somebody. I'm very excited to make that for somebody that I have in mind. Now, here's the thing. I went with the intention of getting this yarn as a gift. Actually, not this yarn, a different yarn as a gift to make for somebody. But then I found this yarn. So I'm sort of stuck because I like this one a lot, but this person that I'm thinking of doesn't wear that much black. So. The other yarn that they had, which is actually the yarn that I've seen before, and this is the yarn that I had originally seen in their post. That Unicorn Tears was brand new when I went, but this one I had seen in person before. So this is another Lana Grossa, and this one is called Cosmo. Now this is also 100% cotton thread, and then the sequins are obviously like polyamide or some kind of plastic or whatever. Now this color is like a rose gold type of color, right? So I'm stuck because I personally love this, but I do feel like this is a little more my aesthetic, and this one might be more their aesthetic. And so I'm on the fence on like which one I want to use. Now this one, I didn't buy a contract or like a yarn to hold with it because I have a ton. You can't even see, there's more shelves behind me. There's more shelves here. There's another wall of yarn over there. So not a wall, it's another bookcase, but I have another yarn that actually would go really well with this, and I can't see it right now, but I have several, probably. So I have some yarn that would go really beautifully with this that is more variegated. And so it would actually like change colors and be really pretty. It's like a really soft yarn. And so that would be more of like, I think a little more luxurious looking because it's like a hand-dyed yarn and it's got this really beautiful flow. And then this would be sequined into it. So I don't know. I'm gonna swatch. You know me, love to swatch. So I'm gonna swatch both of them. I'm gonna swatch the black and I'm gonna swatch this with that yarn, which I gotta find. So wish me luck. And I'm gonna swatch them and see. I'm gonna see and see which one gives the best vibe for this person. And then, yeah, I'm gonna go from there. But I'm really excited. I'm very excited about this. I think this is gonna be gorgeous. And after having seen them knitted up in a shawl, I'm sold. Like I'm so sold on this. I do also think this thread on this one is actually slightly smaller. It's actually like a tad thinner weight, I think. So if you are concerned about the gauge, if you were making like a sweater and you were really worried about the gauge, like I actually do think that yarn has a slightly better, it's slightly less, maybe not. Let me see. Let's do a comparison side by side. I'll try and put my finger in here. This one's very tightly wound. No, I do think this is thicker. Okay, let's see. Can y'all see that? So if you can see the black one, I do feel the black one is a bit thicker. So if you were trying to like hold these together with another yarn and make like a sweater or something that you need to hit gauge with, this one's a tad bit thinner. It probably wouldn't make enough of a difference for it to matter, to be honest. They're very close. This Lana Grossa one is also 100 grams and it's also 260 meters. I mean, these are almost identical. And I believe both of these come out of Germany. So, yeah. This is the colorway 14. And it's like a pink. They did have other colors. There wasn't a ton of either of these. Like both of these had like a limited color range. I'm guessing you could probably get more online. But again, I mean, these are just like, these are so pretty. I will say, the Unicorn Tears has varying sizes of sequin. Oh, so does this. They both do. So they both have bigger sequins and smaller sequins. So like, they have two sizes of sequins, but they both actually have that. Yeah. So, I'm almost identical. Almost identical. I think it's just like what color can you find that you like. So, yeah. So we'll have some swatches. I'm sure I will have those done by the next time I record because like I'm dying to try those. The only reason I haven't already broken into them is because I wanted to film and show you before I like rip the balls apart. So, you're welcome. You're welcome for the self-restraint. Okay, while I was there, they also had another new yarn. I had never heard of anything like this or seen anything like this. This is also Prue Yarns. It's called Mermaid Tears. Isn't that so pretty? Now you can't see this on the camera. Maybe, no, you probably can't. I'll try and get a photo of this. But these little beads are actually like very, very light pearlesque colors. So there's like a very light pink, almost like a bluish green color, and then sort of like a grayish white color. And these little beads sit threaded through the yarn. I got the white one because I just felt like that was so pretty. Yeah, and I don't know if you can see the color variation a lot, but so yeah. So this is Prue Yarns Mermaid Tears 100 grams. This actually has 400 meters. So this is a much lighter weight thread. This is 100% cotton and the pearls are 100% poly resin. So like a plastic resin. And this color is... doesn't say. white. It's white. So this is a bit thinner thread. This is really pretty. So I'll be honest, I have no plans for this. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. But I saw this and was like, holy crap, that's cool. Want to just swatch with that and try it out and see what that does. And with 400 meters on this, I mean, that's quite a bit of yarn. You could get a whole shawl out of that. And I have several, like, light-toned, light variegated yarns that I also think I can hold with this and just create something beautiful. I actually also have a really, really light, mohair that I think would maybe be pretty with this, like a mohair and this pretty thing, but I don't know if the little beads would get lost in it. So again, I'm gonna swatch and I'm gonna see how that knits up and then kind of go make a decision on that. But oh look, I can pull this out. So you can kind of see that little thing is the bead. You can move these around like a tiny bit. They kind of move on the string a little bit. But not far because they are threaded in between strands. Let me see if you can see this. Can you see that? Yeah, you can kind of see. Ooh, right there. So they are threaded in between the plies of the yarn, so they don't move a ton. Unless you want to start unplying the yarn. I don't recommend that. So yeah, so this is also like a cotton thread and then these beautiful little pearls on them. They're so pretty. I can't believe how cute this is. So I'll see how this knits up as well. I'm going to swatch it and just see. It could look great too with like even like a cream colored yarn, or like a gray. Beautiful. So we'll try it. We'll see what happens. I'll do some swatches and we'll look at that. And this will most likely turn into a shawl as well because I only bought one of these and I don't necessarily want to buy. I don't think I would make this into a sweater for myself. I might use the sequins and make a sweater for myself, but I probably wouldn't with this. This is a little more like delicate. I feel like I'd destroy this. So that's Mermaid Tears. I'm very excited about that. That's cool. That's really cool yarn. I love the innovation of some of these like brands and stuff. So I also got my cute little sticker while I was there. Yarn Parlor. So cute. Put it on my notebook. Okay. While I was there, I also had been looking for a yarn. So this is called Illimani Sabri II. I have purchased this yarn or something very similar, but like in a lace weight, light fingering weight, and used it to start knitting a top. But what I was trying to find was something very similar to that makeup, the fiber content of that, while also getting something a little heavier gauge so that I can wear it in more of the... I say transitional. It's really like the few cold months that we have. Because instead of wearing wool, sometimes I just want to wear like a cotton or something that has a little bit of cotton content in it so that, as I bounce around at work or I'm running in between meetings, I don't get overheated. So what I found was this yarn. This is super interesting. It's a chainette construction. So it's Illimani Sabri II. It's 85% organic cotton, 15% baby alpaca, 218 yards. So for 100 gram ball, I think 100 grams? It's gotta be. I'm fairly certain it's a 100 gram ball. So this is like a DK worsted weight yarn, and it's got this chainette construction. So I'm very interested to see how that's going to knit up. This color is 38, and I think this is very, very cool. So it doesn't have like a ton of stretch necessarily. Like it's got a little, but it's not going to be like that cashmere yarn that we looked at a couple of videos ago. It's not going to be like that. It's definitely a little less, because of the cotton, it's definitely less springy. It's got like a little bit, but not a lot. But it is a chainette construction, so it's really cool. It's a really cool yarn. It is very like lightweight. It doesn't feel heavy. And I was actually, there was some knitters in the store at the table knitting, and I was talking to one of them. She was telling me that she's used this yarn to make a really pretty top at a very loose gauge, which is exactly what I'm trying to do, and that it's very comfortable to wear. So this is gonna go on my queue. I got, let's see, how many did I get? One, two. I got enough to make like a short sleeve sweater. So 5. I got 5 skeins of this to make a short sleeve sweater. And I wanted to get enough to do something like at a looser gauge, a little oversized, and with the short sleeves. I definitely don't want to make this long sleeve. Again, even in the winter here, a full length long sleeve sweater can get hot. So yeah, I'm excited about this. I think this is really pretty. I will probably also swatch this up before I come back again just to see what that's gonna look like. And I might cast that on after I finish my second test knit. That's kind of my goal, because I would like to have this like ready to go by the time we start to cool down in the fall. And by fall, I mean like November. But yeah, so it's really pretty. It's a simple gray. It's got a lot of heathering in it. You know, it's almost like a white base with like gray overtones. There's a slight warmish color to it. It's got a little bit of warmth to it, but mostly I would just call it like a gray, like a taupey gray. So it's really pretty. So I'm very excited about this. I think this is going to be really nice to make. I think it's going to be very like comfortable to wear. And so I think I'll get a lot of use out of this one. I'm really excited about that. Okay. That is it for like regular life updates and knitting things. I'm going to go ahead and jump into Flagwool now. So I realize this video is already like 40 minutes. So if you're like, okay, I'm done. Like I saw the yarn, I'm ready to move on. Totally fine. No pressure. If you want to stick around, I'm going to start jumping into Flagwool and tell you all about that. So we were able to go a couple weekends ago. We had gone up to Prescott. I have family up there, which is a small town in Arizona. We went up there. Okay, I lied. This is getting hot. I'm gonna take it off. So we had gone up there for my brother's birthday, and unfortunately he got sick. And so we were like, okay, well, we were mostly here to like chill with the family, and half the family was like sick and stuff like that. So we were like, okay, well, you know, we'll have some time Sunday morning, because we spent the night up there for some other events. And so we were like, well, we're gonna have time Sunday morning. My kids are a lot, and I have 3 boys, so we're a lot. And I was like, well, maybe this would be a good opportunity for us to like do a quick trip up to Flagstaff, which is an hour-ish drive from where they live. And I was like, it's an hour drive. We could get up there, go to the festival, let our kids like run around and burn off some energy, and then come back and be back in time for all the stuff we're going to do this afternoon. So we just decided to do it. It was very last minute. Flagwool and Fiber is an event put on in Flagstaff. It is sort of the premier fiber festival of Arizona. Because Phoenix is hot, it's in Flagstaff, which makes more sense. It's usually much nicer up there. We actually went, and we were like borderline cold. It was like windy. It was like a cool wind blowing through, and all of us were like, oh my gosh, it's actually like a little bit cold. You know, and people who live up there are like, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. It's great weather. And we're down here like, oh, it's chilly. It just goes to show. So we got up there Sunday morning. I think we arrived to the festival around 9:30-ish, and the doors had opened at 9, so it was right at the beginning of the festival. And one of the first things we got to do was actually go into the livestock. They had like livestock rooms. And so one of the first things we got to do was actually walk into one of those livestock rooms and pet some sheep. We got to pet these beautiful sheep. Some of them were shorn and some of them had not yet been. And so we got to sort of like touch their wool and like pet their faces, and just give them some cuddles. And they were so into it. They really enjoyed it. And there was a couple sheep that were like, no, back off, like I'm done. But then there was some that just kept walking right up to the little fence, and they just kept wanting to come up and get snuggles from us. So, between myself, my husband, and our 3 sons, we were like, sort of all at different levels of comfort. So my youngest son did not want to pet. He was like, what is that? What is that animal right there? He was not having it, so he did not want to pet anything. But my two older boys did. My oldest was a huge fan. He was willing to pet everything, and he wanted to try everything, so he had a great time. And then my middle son was a little more hesitant, but he did finally work up the excitement to like go and try and pet the animals. They had beautiful fiber. They had gorgeous roving, they had dyed, they had natural, they had raw fleece. I mean, just like whatever you could think of, you name it, you try it, like they had it. You name it, they had it. So it was really cool. So we did that first, and then we sort of moseyed on to the next livestock room, and that was the alpacas. So the alpacas are smaller than I thought. I did not realize that they're actually like, they're not that tall. It's llamas that are tall. Alpacas are not that tall. So, lesson learned. Really cool. They had them in a pen, and the gentleman who was there, I assume the owner, was just giving us a little bit of history about the alpacas, and their lineage, like their animal lineage or their animal ancestry. It was very interesting. I kind of remember it, not enough to try and tell you, like, look it up, because I don't remember enough to try to even pretend to be an authority on that. I'm not. But they were cute. They were little. Now, I will say the alpacas were like, they had it. They did not want to be touched. They were like, no, sir, thank you. We did finally get one of them. Oh, I also learned they don't like being touched on their little fluff on the top of their head. I get that. I wouldn't like being touched on the top of my head, but whatever. So they were but they were not having it. My middle son did get some feed, and he was able to feed them like some pellets or something, and that did warm them up to us a little bit. They liked us a little more after that, but not enough for us to really get a bunch of petting in. But they were so sweet. They're so cute. Also found out alpacas can't bite you, so like that's a plus. But yeah, they were done. They were peopled out. So after that, we ventured outside, and at 10 o'clock they had a sheep shearing. So there's two gentlemen. One is like more local to the Arizona market, and then one was actually from Australia. They were very funny, and they put on a good show. And they did shear a sheep, and like it was so fast. I mean, it was within like not even 10 minutes. I mean, they got that sheep shorn fast, and they did a lot of like talking about the tools and all that stuff. So I'll insert some clips and some video or some photos to show y'all. But the sheep was adorable. I mean, he was just like sitting there, and I have a picture of him just like all four legs out, and he just looks like he's like, all right, get this crap off me. Like, I'm ready. So they were, I mean, I swear these animals have like a mind of their own and their own personalities. They're so cute. So that was really fun. We got to see that, and he just like shaved that thing down. It was, I mean, it's so impressive. It's so impressive how they do this. So that was really cool to see and actually get to like witness firsthand. And then after that, we sort of took a turn around like the enclosures, and they had llamas, and they had camels. So we actually got to see camels, which sounds crazy, but like we're in a desert. Phoenix is a desert. It's probably not that crazy for camels to live out here. Like it's a similar climate to like, the desert in Egypt. So anyway, they are very big. Camels are big. I mean, bigger than horses. And I didn't really know they were that big. I mean, I've seen movies, right? Like I've seen people on camels in movies. Those things are big. We did get to pet the camels. There was some more warning with them. They were like, okay, these, they can bite you. They probably won't, but like, don't piss them off because they can bite you. The llamas were also bigger. I think for the most part, all the animals were a little like peopled out by the time we got there on Sunday, but they were all very gentle and very nice. So we got to experience a lot of that. The kids got to pet them, and we got to see a lot of different kinds of animals that they'd never seen before. So it was a lot of fun. We had a blast just in the first, like, hour of being there. It was so much fun. And then the rest, like the big portion of the rest of the time we were there, we went and walked around all the vendors and all the shops. So we got to see a lot of local artisans. Where we live in like middle of Arizona, Phoenix area. The festival's in northern Arizona, and you're very close up there to the Navajo Nation and there's several other tribal lands around us. So even within the Phoenix metro area, there's a ton. So there's a lot of like Navajo churro yarn and fiber out here. We get exposed to a lot of like Navajo weaving, or Dibe, if you're using the appropriate terms. So we get to see a lot of that. We get to see a lot of like artistry and indigenous influence and indigenous makers out here, which I love. It is so awesome to see that stuff and get to see them at these large fiber festivals. So I got to get, a few things that I'm really excited about, and I'll show you. And that was the bulk of the rest of the thing. We walked around all the different vendors. There's so many creative people out here. Arizona and I think New Mexico and different parts of like, southern Utah, southern Colorado, southern Nevada. We get such interesting people. We get such a diverse community. So not just indigenous and tribal people, but also we get a lot of like, we get Latino influences. We also get like, I don't even know. I like just so many things, right? Because there's such a melting pot out here. I mean, Arizona is big. We call it the 5 C's. It's like copper, cotton, something else. See, I don't even know. I should know them. I could look it up. But we're known for a lot of these like important things that brought a lot of people out here during like the Wild West. And because of that, you get a huge mix of people out here. So 5 C's are copper, cattle, cotton, citrus, and climate. So you get a lot of people out here from different walks of life. We get a ton of transplants out here, especially in Phoenix, and especially since 2020, when so many people went to remote work. I don't know. I could go on and on about this, but the point is there's a very diverse and eclectic amount of people out here. Also in New Mexico, I'd say you get a lot of like, I don't want to say like hippie folks, but you get more of that natural, home remedy, be a part of the earth mentality. Like places like Sedona, Santa Fe, Taos, you get a lot of that. And so you see some really unique and interesting ways that people are using wool, people are using natural fibers, they're using even things like native plants. It's so interesting. So I'll put up pictures as I talk so that you can kind of see some of the stuff I'm talking about. It's really fun. It's such a fun place to live. It's so diverse. I love it out here sometimes to just see all those things coming together. So I will jump into some of the things I got. I know this is getting long, so I will just start. Okay. So right off the bat, this is one of the hand-spun yarns that I was able to pick up. So this is called Dibe be Iina, and I'm sure I'm not saying that right, because that is in the Dene language. Dene, for those of you who don't know, is the more appropriate term for Navajo. I believe it's their preferred term, but again, I'm not Navajo, so don't quote me on that. Do your own research. But Dibe be Iina, it means sheep is life. So I don't know if you can see. So sheep is life. Okay. So a family business on the Navajo Nation dedicated to preserving Navajo language and culture through our sheep. So this is the 2025 fleece shearing, 100% genuine Navajo churro wool. It's a 4-ounce skein, approximately 250 yards of DK weight. This is, they do have an Etsy store, and this is milled or spun out of the Pinon, Arizona. So it's again, like northern Arizona. So there's a little thing. I'll try and put their Etsy store link in the description box, but yeah, so this is that. And then here's the yarn. So it's a very light hand spun single ply. Navajo Churro is known for being a little more coarse. Again, I'm not bothered by that. I think this is I actually want to use this to make some mittens. I think this is going to be so pretty as some mittens. Oh, so you're going to get some beautiful like texture out of this. So this is the little thing. Sheepa's Life. Yeah, so really pretty. So really, really cool stuff. So I love Navajo Churro. I think it's beautiful. Some people talk about it being a little too coarse, like you can't make garments and stuff out of it. Personally, I don't think that's an issue, but again, I like coarse wools, so it doesn't bother me. I don't know if you want to make yourself like a tight scarf out of this. That might be a lot, but I do think it softens up a lot once you wash it. And I think that this is the type of thing that is very hard wearing. Navajo Churro is very, very, very sturdy wool. Like this wool is like, it is good to go. It's going to last forever. So, they do use this a lot in, woven rugs as well. So, you know, it's very long lasting. So I'm excited. I'm going to make some mittens with that. And then, yeah. So one of the other things I picked up, actually, before I divert from that, I picked up 2 colors of that yarn. So I actually got that like white color, and these are all undyed. They're the natural fibers. So I picked up another one. It's the same thing. It's the DK weight, approximately DK weight. This one is also approximately 240 yards, and this is a 2024 fleece shearing of 100% genuine Navajo Churro wool. So, again, that's the thing. And so this is like this gray color, sort of a grayish brown. So you see these together, I think those are going to be pretty. So I might do colorwork mittens, or maybe I'll just do 2 sets of mittens or something, or maybe I'll use this for something else. I don't know. We'll see. But those are really pretty. So I'm excited about both of those. I think those are going to be gorgeous. They're both single ply. They're both about the same weight, like that DK weight. Okay. In the livestock room where we saw the alpacas, they were selling some of their alpaca, their alpaca's fiber. So let me pull this out. This is some yarn I got from them while we were in their little shop area, livestock area. And so this is 100% alpaca. So as you can imagine, alpaca, 100% alpaca, super soft. This is amazingly soft. This is so beautifully soft. It's a 2-ply. It's like a gray. Now, here's what I'll say. Alpaca is not as durable. So alpaca is definitely going to pill. It's definitely going to, you know, it's, yeah. So this I might use to make something on the neck or something on the head, like a hat, which is probably what I'll do. I only got one of these because I just wanted to get one. But this is also about a DK weight. It's about, maybe worsted. It's about 200 yards, 4 ounces. And let me see. They call it a DK. And the name of it is Jules, which I think is the name of the alpaca. So the alpaca that this fiber came from. Now, the reason this one is caked up is actually because a friend of mine at work, one of the guys I work with, he had a really nice British wool knit sweater that he had purchased, and the elbow had worn a hole. And so he was like, I have been trying to find somebody to help me mend this forever. Like, is that something you could do? I heard you knit. And I was like, bro, yes, like, come to me. So, ironically, I had just purchased this yarn at Flagwool, and this ended up being almost a perfect match to his sweater. Now his sweater is more coarse. It's a British wool. This is alpaca. It's very soft. But we were able to save it. He had a big old hole in this, so I had to recreate some of the stitches. And then I also sort of duplicate stitch around the hole because I was already starting to see some wear and, around the hole as well. So yeah, so we patched it up. So, it did mean I had to break into this before the video, but that's okay. You still get the idea. It's very pretty yarn. So that will probably be a hat. I'm thinking like maybe a cable hat or maybe some kind of lacy little neck kerchief of some kind. That would be so soft and so pretty. So yeah, also could be that. So I'm really excited about these that are like the undyed yarns because I do think they're so pretty. So that is that one. And again, this was just from the local alpaca farmer. Like it literally says like 100% alpaca yarn. So I don't have the name or the company. I think they kind of just sell whatever they have at these events and stuff, and they kind of just go from there. So, okay. I spin yarn. I don't know if I mentioned that on this channel yet or not, but I do. So another really cool shop was called Camp Verde Llamas. This is in Camp Verde, Arizona, which is also northern Arizona. This is a undyed alpaca? I don't even know. Let's see if the ball band tells me. Oh yeah, it does. Okay. So Camp Verde llamas. So this is the llama, I think. So this is a fiber. So I got this at Camp Verde Llamas in Camp Verde, Arizona. That's all we got. So that's it. Okay, now this is the fiber. You can kind of see it is so soft. It's so pretty. It's got beautiful, beautiful texture to it. It's like a cream base with some little patches of like dark brown, a little bit of this like warm honey brown. And so here's the fiber content. It's 60% llama. And the llamas that contributed to this fiber are Daisy, Dolly, Madeline, Moresso, Notso, Patches, Stewart, Tina, Rue, and Vita. And then it's 20% alpaca. And the alpacas that contributed to this are Chaska, DiMaggio, and Shiloh. And then 20% of Finn sheep wool. I've never even heard of Finn sheep wool. This is about 1/4 pound or 4 ounces. And let's see, llama fibers from our ranch, processed in Ohio Valley Farm and Fiber Mill. Gently hand wash in cool water. Use your preferred wool wash, air dry. So, yeah, super cool. Here's the thing. So, just so you know, I paid $24 for this. So, this is 4 ounces of fibers, $24. It's all undyed. And as you can tell, like several animals fiber went into the making of this. It's beautiful. Love the color variation. I don't know if you can see that? Like, oh, that's so pretty right here. Or like right in here. So I will spin this up into another something. I was thinking about maybe holding these together to maybe get more of a neck, something on the neck, because this is also very, very soft. So I think that would be really pretty. So this was the only fiber I got. I just loved it. It was so pretty. And I love that it's natural and it's not dyed. So I'm excited to try this out and see sort of how it's going to go. You can also see these hairs? I don't know if you can, let me see. Maybe you can see a little more right here. See like right here? See like right here? Those little hairs? So I think that's part of all the different animal fibers that are going into this. Like you're going to get some actual like hairs in it. See that? Can you see it? Probably not. Can't see anything. Okay, well, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. But it looks cool. It's so pretty. And I do think, oh, like, look at that. Like, look at that. It's gonna be so nice. I'm excited about it. I will spin this up. I'll show you. I'll show you when it happens. I'll show you what happens with it. I think we're going to enjoy it. And, you know, we'll just go from there. So this is the only fiber I got. But I'm very excited about it. I wasn't actually planning on getting a lot of fiber because I have a bunch of fiber up here that I'm sort of backlogged on. And I was like, do I need more fiber? And then I saw this and I was like, sure do need more fiber, apparently. So that's that. Okay. So the next one, I briefly mentioned her a while back, but she is actually not new to me necessarily. I have seen her yarn at my local yarn shop in Phoenix, the Yarnmonger, which is in downtown Phoenix. Now, the brand is called Lavender Fiber Co. I think probably she's semi-well-known already because her colors are stunning. She makes like these very beautiful, like watercolor effect colorways. She also has beautiful solids, and I'll actually show you one of the ones I got. So she just, I don't know, her aesthetic, her color, like dyeing ability is amazing because the way she makes all these colors meld together and just, it's not too much, it's not over the top, it's still really subtle. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I have some yarn from her that I purchased from the Yarnmonger. It's in here somewhere. Somewhere in there. This area. But she was vending at Flagwool. She's based out of Phoenix. So she was vending in Flagwool, and I was like, I want to go to her spot so bad. I want to see what she has. Now, we went on Sunday, and she was already very picked over because her stuff is so popular. So yeah. So anyway, this is Lavender Fiber Co. This is the colorway Life of a Trunk Showboy, and this base is called Heirloom Diamond. So I don't know if you can see the stellina in there. So there's like, see all that little shimmer? So this is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% silver toned stellina. It's a 2-ply yarn, so this can be beautiful for some lace work, and it's 438 yards for 100 grams. So there's these stunning colors of like this mossy green, this very light bluish gray. There's like a darker sort of grayish, I don't want to say, it's not even purple. It's like this grayish, like concrete color. I mean, I don't even know how to explain that other than building materials because that's my job. But but this is so pretty. So I got one skein of the sort of sock weight yarn. And then I got 2 in the same colorway of her cloud base. So this is a 74% baby Suri alpaca, 26% silk. It's 50 grams. Each of these are 50 grams for 328 yards. So I'm going to figure out some way to like stripe these bad boys with that fingering weight and do something cool with it. I'm thinking of that Andrea Mowry shawl. I think it's called Birds of a Feather, where she kind of stripes like a sock weight yarn and then like a mohair, which this Suri would be just as nice. So you can kind of see the color tones on that. I mean, it's the same colorway, it's just a different base. It's so pretty. Makes me want to cry. It's so beautiful. So if you have not checked her out, do it. Check her out. I know she did have some of her like already dyed stuff on her website recently. She had put it up, I think, last weekend. She may still have some items available. I don't know, but like, yeah. I made some fingerless mitts actually with her yarn. I don't know where they are. I don't think they're down here. I think they're upstairs because I need to wash them. So, oh well. Anyway, her stuff is beautiful. Like, it's gorgeous. So those are those. And then my youngest son is a huge, sorry, there's like alpaca fiber all over this because it was in the same bag. So my youngest son is a huge K-pop Demon Hunters fan. So if you have not seen K-pop Demon Hunters and you want something that's like inspiring and makes you want to be your best self, it's a cartoon and it's for kids, but it's great. I highly recommend. It's on Netflix. It's amazing. Um, he loves K-pop Demon Hunters. He is such a big fan. So Lavender Fiber Co. also has several K-pop colorways that she's done. This one, so in the movie, there's like the main group, which is the K-pop Demon Hunters band Huntrix, which is the 3 girls. They're kind of going up against this rival band. There's 5 boys, and they're called Saja Boys. And so one of the songs the Saja Boys sings is called Your Idol. And so this colorway is called Your Idol. And so I don't know if you can see again that like Stellina thing. So this is Heirloom Gold DK, 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% gold stellina. It's 100 grams with 231 yards. So this is going to be something for my son. I'm thinking maybe like a little hat. He's only 5, so like it could even be, I mean, 231 yards. I might be able to make him like maybe a little vest, but I don't know if he'd wear a vest. So it could just end up being like a cool hat or something for him. He also is obsessed with these gloves that one of the Huntrix characters wears. So like maybe I could make him a hat and then like try and imitate those little gloves that she wears. They're kind of like biker gloves. He would probably love that, honestly. So yeah, so that's going to be something for him. This is beautiful though. She had a lot of gorgeous colorways as part of that like K-pop Demon Hunters. So like this is really fun. So then we went outside. There was a big indoor area that was like all vendors inside of this big like barn sort of thing. And then you could kind of trail off outside, and there were more vendors outside in different like groupings. So there was another vendor that we kind of found last minute. We were almost done. Everyone was tired. The kids were hungry. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, but I was like, well, let me just walk down this literally like this last row and let me just see, cause you never know. And so we went down there and we found this dyer. They're DG Crazed Creations from Texas, apparently. So I've never heard of them. I'm very excited. They had some really cool colorways. I'm glad they came. All the way from Texas too. Like that's far. So because I bought several skeins of yarn, they gave me a free tote, which was really sweet of them. I think they were kind of at the tail end. They had, a lot of their stuff had already been picked over. And again, there was not a ton left. So this was like really sweet of them to give me the tote. But, we picked a couple things. So this was, DG Crazed Creations. So this is one that we got that was like a fluffy yarn, but with like neon neps in it. So this is it doesn't look like it has a base name on it, but it's 42% superwash merino, 32% superfine alpaca, 18% Donegal neon, which are the little neps, the little tweety bits. Can you see the little tweety bits? And then 8% linen, which I was like, wow, that's cool. I think linen must be maybe like the base, the little thread. Don't know. Really pretty. So this is super soft. So soft. There's 437 yards. It's a fingering weight, which, maybe you could, probably. You could probably get a fingering weight out of it. So this is so pretty. This is like pinks and purples, and then it's got all these little neon neps in it. And so I thought this was gorgeous. This was like the last one they had of this, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna grab it. So yeah, this was really pretty. I liked this a lot. So then to go with that, sort of also thinking about like, maybe I hold this and do like a stripe where it's like a sock weight yarn and then a fuzzy yarn, or maybe I hold it together and do like one shawl. They had this, which looks to be like their sock base. Let me see. So 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. The sock, it just says sock, so I guess this is what they consider like a sock weight. It's 437 yards. Again, this doesn't have a color on it. Neither of these have colors or like a base name on it. So, I don't know. It was just pink. Pinks, sort of dark pinks, light pinks. It ventures a little bit into like some lilac tones. So really pretty. So I think these together are going to be super cute. So I'm very excited about seeing that come together. And then they also had, like I said, they were picked over. Oh, look, here's their little card. That's cute. They were very well branded. They also gave me a sticker. So I'll also put that with my little yarn parlor sticker, repping all the brands. So then I also wanted to pick out, like this. I just saw this and was like, that's cool. So this is a lace weight yarn. This is 65% baby Suri alpaca, 26% silk, 10% stellina, 328 yards. Because this is a lace weight, I would say this is most likely a 50-gram skein. Again, there's no color on this, but this is like, you're not getting the vibe on this. This is like a neon yellowy green base, which if you saw video 1, you know that I love like a chartreuse neon yellow color. So there's like a little bit of purple, a little bit of pink, and then it's got this sort of iridescent rainbow stellina in it. I'll try and get some better photos because the camera today is not doing this justice. Like, y'all aren't getting the vibe, but it's really pretty. This is so pretty. So then I decided to get like some kind of contrasting color. I feel like this again might be something striped, or maybe I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have any plans, but this is also their sock base. So 75% merino, 25% nylon sock, 437 yards. And this is more of like just a regular sort of a gray, like a kettle dyed gray yarn. But I thought it would go cool with this and they would kind of juxtapose against each other. So this too might be maybe like a birds of a feather shawl, or I don't know. I'm sure I can find something. But yeah, so this was really fun. They had a lot of really cool colors. They were much more like vibrant and bright. But again, I had never heard of them. It was a completely new to me dyer. And they're obviously not from here. I think they said they were from Texas, I'm pretty sure. So I'll put all the links and stuff to these different makers in the description box. But yeah, they're kind of fun. I think they have kind of a like alternative vibe going on. So they do a lot of these like really bright colors. So that's really fun. And that was it. That was all I got, which if I'm being honest, pretty proud of myself. I didn't get more, so overall it was a lot of fun. We went back to Prescott after and we were able to go hang out with family and see some folks and spend a little more time with everybody, and we had a great time. It was a great weekend. I had been trying to go to Flagwool for several years and just hadn't made it. There were so many things, like every year there's something that had come up. The first time I tried to go was actually in 2020. We all know what happened. The whole event got canceled that year because of COVID. And so after that, I had not had the opportunity, like different life events just happened on the same weekend, or we were out of town for something, or I was busy with work, or, literally just like there was always something and we were never able to go. So this year was the first year and I'm really excited we got to go. It was kind of fast. But at least I can say now I've gone, I've experienced it. Maybe next year we'll make more of a trip of it. We'll make it a bigger deal. But at least for this time around, like I was really happy to get to go and see the animals. I'm glad I got to take my boys with me because I think they had a lot of fun, even though they all said they were like, well, I don't know, Mom. They had a good time. So it was fun. It was a great time out with the family, and obviously got some really beautiful goodies. Now that I've shown you, I can open everything and play with it. So you may see some swatching coming up on the next one. Hopefully I'll have some finished objects. I want to finish at least one test knit because it's due like in July. So I need to have it done. And then, yeah, and we'll see some stuff. So please feel free to put any comments, if you have any questions, if you're, want to know more about anything, please feel free to reach out. The comment section is open, and yeah. Thanks everybody. Bye.